I've left this topic alone for a couple of weeks now, but I just could not resist any longer. The drama going on in Dallas continues between Dak Prescott and the Jones family. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. We have talked about this ad nauseum over the past couple of months. Dak and the Cowboys, they've got until July 15th to come to terms on a new contract. I think that we're going to see July 15th come and go, and this contract's going to remain unsigned. I don't think Dak Prescott wants to sign this deal, which is rumored to be about 5 years long, $35 million a year with $45 million in the fifth year. The length, supposedly, always has been and still is the problem. Now let's look at this a minute from Dak Prescott's perspective, which is something I haven't done when talking about this. People are accusing him of being greedy and not putting the team first with these contract negotiations. But here's how I think Dak is looking at things. He is guaranteed to make over $31 million this season with the franchise tag, assuming that Dallas doesn't yank it off the table. The long-term contract that the Cowboys are offering is rumored to be $35 million a year, like I said a second ago. So there's not a big difference in terms of money between the contract and the franchise tag. If Dak is placed on the tag in 2021, he's going to be paid somewhere between $37 and $40 million. I think that could be exactly what Dak wants. I think he could want to play on the franchise tag the next 2 years because he knows that league revenue and the salary cap are going way the fuck up in 2022. TV deals for the NFL are coming up for renewal. ESPN's coming up next year. 2022, NBC, Fox, and CBS will be up for renewal. It is expected that the NFL is going to receive double the money that they're currently getting, which is supposed to be about $15 billion a year for the right to air NFL games. And Dak Prescott knows that if and when that happens, quarterbacks are going to be making significantly more money than what they're making now. And he wants a piece of the pie. He knows that if he's locked into a 5-year contract, he's going to have to wait until 2024 or 2025 to get another opportunity at that kind of money. Anything could happen between now and then. His value could drop. He could suffer an injury, career-ending injury. So Dak wants to roll the dice over the next 2 years. Collect that $31 million, that $37 million on the tag, and potentially look at a long-term contract in 2022. They could pay him $50 million a year. There's a problem, though, with Dak's plan. And it's not the risk of injury while playing on the franchise tag without a long-term contract, which would be devastating to his career. It's the fact that Dallas went out and got Dak insurance in the form of Andy Dalton. And before I go any further, I just want to point out, Dak and Andy Dalton are very similar. You look at the first 4 years of Andy Dalton's career. Win-loss record, pretty much same as Dak. Statistics are close to the same as Dak. Now, if the Bungles had given Andy Dalton $35 million a year after his rookie deal, everyone would have thought that they had lost their fucking mind. So I don't understand why there are people defending Dak, demanding this kind of money. The Cowboys have been terrible with quarterbacks through the history of the organization, at least with Jerry Jones. They have drafted one good quarterback in 30 years, Troy Aikman. Well, what about Tony Romo? Tony Romo was okay. Well, number one, he wasn't drafted by Dallas. He was an unsigned free agent. Number two, Tony Romo was a product of Sean Payton. Sean Payton went out and got Tony Romo, not Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones had nothing to do with it. And I think that is part of the reason that Dallas wants to hang on to Dak Prescott. Because it's like a once-in-a-generation thing that the Cowboys have a decent quarterback under center that they actually drafted. But decent or mediocre just does not cut it at the quarterback position in the NFL. I saw an article yesterday that was pushing the Cowboys to retain Dak at any cost. They have got to do whatever they got to do to keep Dak Prescott. Made the point that Dak is irreplaceable. He can't be replaced. Actually pointed to the fact of the Cowboys' shitty history with quarterbacks as the reason why Dak can't be easily replaced. Also stated that Dak ranks in the top 10 in most metrics that we use to rate quarterbacks. QBR, yards per game, interception ratio, touchdown ratio, shit like that. The writer pointed to the fact that Carson Wentz and Jared Goff got big extensions last summer, and they're on the same level as Dak, at least production-wise. That is the wrong way to look at it, in my opinion. For starters, both Carson Wentz and Jared Goff have led teams to a Super Bowl. Now, I know Carson Wentz was injured throughout that playoff run in Philadelphia, but he was a big reason that the Eagles were there in the first place. And also, Dak's stats, his numbers are very misleading. Who gives a shit if he's a top 10 quarterback in most of these metrics? It's because he puts up big numbers against bad teams. Last season, Dak had 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions against playoff teams. Now, against the bums, against the teams like the Redskins and the Dolphins, 22 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That is a big difference, production-wise, against playoff-quality opponents and shit teams. Also, the Rams are regretting giving Jared Goff that contract extension. That, along with a couple of other bad deals, have tanked the franchise, have put them in a shitty position over the next couple of years. And I feel like the Eagles kept the wrong quarterback. I think they should have kept Nick Foles. Nick Foles was perfect in that system that Doug Peterson and them run. And Carson Wentz just stays hurt all the time. But when he is healthy, he is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz is a game changer. Dak Prescott is a game manager. Now, calling Dak a game manager might seem blasphemous to some of his supporters, but I challenge you. Name one time that Dak Prescott has carried the Cowboys to a win against a quality opponent. And when I say carried them to a win, I'm talking about a game where the defense is struggling. Maybe Zeke is having a bad game. And Dak wills the team to victory. Go ahead. I'll wait. Because you're not going to find one, because it's never happened. I don't want to hear about Dak and his winning record. That means absolutely nothing to me. This guy is demanding top 5 quarterback money, but he hasn't earned it. Dak was 2-6 last year against team with a winning record. Well, that's because he doesn't have a good defense in Dallas. He has to carry the Cowboys offensively in order to win. Not fucking true. In 3 of those losses last year, the Dallas defense gave up 17 points or less. In 2 of them, they gave up 13 or less. Now, guess who shit the bed in all 3 games? Was the main reason the Cowboys lost? Dak Prescott. Now, mind you, Dak is playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He's got Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. He's got Amari Cooper and a talented group of wide receivers. Over his 4-year career, against teams with 10 or more wins, Dak Prescott is 5-13 with a QBR of 55.3. And this guy wants top 5 quarterback money? With numbers like that against quality opponents? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm beginning to wonder whether either side really wants to reach an agreement in Dallas. M. Rappaport reported the other day that Dak and the Cowboys haven't earnestly negotiated the terms of this contract in the last several months. Several months. Now, does that sound like either side is 100% committed to getting this deal done? Now, I mentioned earlier how playing on the franchise tag is a risk on Dak's part, but it's also a risk on the Cowboys' part as well. There have been 2 guys that have played a season on the franchise tag. Kirk Cousins, Drew Brees. Both of them ended up signing long-term contracts with other teams the season after they were tagged. Look, the damage may already be done in Dallas. The relationship between Dak and the Cowboys might be irreparably damaged. Dallas has fucked this thing up from the beginning, which is par for the course. I mean, the Cowboys have a tendency to fuck up player contracts. I don't care what Jerry and Stephen Jones say publicly about Dak. I still think they have some reservations about him and whether or not he really is a franchise-level quarterback. Because if they didn't, if they were 100% committed to Dak, they would have gotten this deal done last summer. Think about it. Dak was up for an extension last summer. Instead of paying him, the Cowboys give Ezekiel Elliott $90 million over 6 years. Now, not only do they overpay a running back with all of the evidence that we have nowadays as to why it's a bad idea to pay running backs, they rewarded a guy that ran to get a tan in Mexico instead of reporting to training camp. What do you think Dak Prescott thought about that? I'm the guy here busting my ass every day. I played in all 64 games in 4 years, and they're paying me $600,000 a year and rewarding the guy that doesn't fucking show up to work. Then this offseason, instead of keeping contract negotiations private, the Cowboys leaked the offer they made that to the media, which turned the media and the fans in Dallas against him. Now he's viewed as the greedy franchise quarterback. And I use the term franchise quarterback when I'm talking about Dak Prescott very loosely here. But the Cowboys releasing the terms of the contract have not done Dak any favors. I think there is real resentment on both sides. I think the organization's pissed off that they're offering to make Dak one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, and he's turning them down. And I think Dak is pissed off with how the Cowboys have handled this situation from the beginning. Like I said on here before, the length of the contract is meaningless. Arguing over whether or not the deal's going to be 4 years or 5 years is a moot point because Dak's not going to see the final year of the contract anyway. Neither side willing to budge just doesn't make any sense to me. There's something else going on in Dallas. We don't usually see situations like this in the NFL with quarterbacks. Contract negotiations with franchise quarterbacks are usually some of the easier deals that a team will make. But with Dak and the Cowboys, it has been a year-long clusterfuck. I don't think they're going to get this contract signed. I don't think they're getting a deal done by July 15th. I think Dak is going to play 2020 on the franchise tag. At this point, the contract doesn't make sense for either side. If Dak can make $31 million on the tag, and he wants to wait until the league salary cap goes up to sign a long-term extension, then there's absolutely no reason to lock himself into a long-term contract for 4 or 5 years. The deal doesn't make sense for Dallas because Dak's not a franchise quarterback. It is insanity that they are offering him $35 million a year in the first place. In 4 years, Dak has proven nothing besides the fact that he's durable and he can't beat playoff teams. If Dallas really believed Dak Prescott was their franchise quarterback, was their quarterback of the future, they would have gotten this deal done last offseason. It would not have taken this long. Signing Ezekiel Elliott before Dak was just incompetence, but it just goes to show you that extending Dak wasn't a priority for Jerry and Stephen Jones. And I think that Dak knows that he hasn't been a priority. I think he feels disrespected, perhaps even taken advantage of. The damage could already be done. This might be something Dak and the Cowboys can't come back from. We'll find out over the next 6 weeks. All right, that's all for today. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Appreciate you guys that have already done so. Leave me a comment in the section below. Do you think Dak and the Cowboys will get a deal done before July 15th? And do you think Dak is a franchise quarterback worth $35 million a year? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you have any questions, you can email them to BTLKC84@gmail.com. I will see you guys next time.